Hello, wrestling fans. Welcome to the March 15th, 2020 edition of We Can't Wrestle Live. Nate, Chris, and Kyle are here with you, and as you can see, Aaron's not with us this week. It was a very special appearance last week from him, but
so
he was
like the quarantine episode.
He
well, we tried to explain to him like you can't get corona from Skype. But,
yeah.
I don't know. He's still just like, I'm not chancing it, guys.
No, actually, I was going to, and I didn't because I got caught up, hooked on a television show. I was going to actually take like everything off the shelf and be like, "We're here in an empty arena."
You would not have moved all that shit because that's too much work.
But I want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight in the wonderful, wonderful world of professional wrestling. Wesley Kimber, what is up? Welcome to We Can't Wrestle Live. And I guess we'll start out a very odd week this week. A lot of things going on. The three of us live in Ohio where now there's no longer school. There's no longer sports. There's no longer bars. There's no longer restaurants.
There is bars and restaurants.
But you got to get them to...
It's like the rest of the state is like our town. Everything's shut down at 9 o'clock for everybody now, not just us. We grew up like this. It's nothing new.
Yeah.
Now the entire state's living like us. We're like, oh, sucks ass, don't it?
This sucks. This sucks, don't it, Columbus? But we are going to... I want to start the conversation tonight by, first of all, thanking each and every one of you for joining us. And what a week. Wesley is in Warren, Ohio. Wesley, a fellow Ohioan, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. He's sorry.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, sorry.
Not about Warren. Not about Warren, just about Ohio.
Yeah, as soon as I seen all the shit starting to come through the feed of my news, I was like, I should move.
Well, Ohio.
I don't think you're allowed to cross state lines at this point. That's where we're getting.
Probably.
Ohio is a swamp. I mean, that's what it is. they drained it to the population.
Especially here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, speaking of the coronavirus and all the bullshit. So there's a possibility that we will not have WrestleMania on the 5th of April. If Vince doesn't cancel it, Tampa might cancel it on him, which I think is the most likely thing that's going to happen. I don't even want to say cancel, maybe postpone, but it sounds like either way, we may not have a WrestleMania on April 5th like it's supposed to.
Well, see, here's the thing. What's the betting odds right now? Do you think that he'll postpone it, or do you think he'll just say, fuck it, we're going to go ahead and do it live from an empty arena?
I don't think with Mania,
won't do the empty arena, it's too much money it's too much of a money loss.
But yeah, I don't think with Mania that's what's going to happen.
Is it going to be a money loss if they have to postpone it?
No, because if he cancels, he has to refund tickets.
That's true.
If he postpones, the tickets will be good at the future date, but he can offer to postpone if you wish. What I'm looking at is how many people he's jeopardizing right now by pulling this hard-headed bullshit, because it's 3 weeks away. The people that are able to have transportation, they're going to need ample time before last minute to cancel flights, cancel hotel accommodations. You've got all these small-time and indie feds that literally build their year's revenue around this weekend. Like, there's been promoters that have flat out said that if WrestleMania is canceled, there's one that flat out said if this show is canceled and this show doesn't happen, his house is gone. So, I mean, we've got all these small-town guys that have been busting their ass that don't have the benefits of multi-million-dollar contracts and sponsors, risking everything to get out there. And this self-righteous, self-centered thinks he's the gravitational pull of the universe to give two shits and a fuck. Sorry, pardon my language. To give two shits because it doesn't adversely affect him.
Right. Now,
I mean, this is the same man that doesn't understand and comprehend why he has superstars that, due to religious beliefs and overall morals, won't go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, won't do the blood money pay-per-views. One of the reasons I think that Vince will not cancel Mania, he'll just let Tampa do it, is if Tampa cancels, he gets his rent back for the stadium.
Yep.
If Tampa cancels, he doesn't have to eat that. So, I mean, it is what it is. He's a businessman, but
and he's still the good guy because they took it away from you. I did.
Right. Wesley commented the same thing we were talking about before we came on the air. He said that's when I start to worry. The motherfucker didn't even stop a pay-per-view when a man died.
Nope. And think about it. He was pissed. He was pissed that he had to cancel Raw for Chris Benoit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a man that, I don't know. See, and I don't want to get off into a tangent about Over the Edge 99, but in my personal opinion, it was something that I think Jim Ross said, where going on with the show, if those fans got to see Stone Cold and it helped divert their attention away from what they had seen in the arena, then maybe that was the reason to continue the show.
I always have had the stance that the show that night should have stopped, but I didn't enjoy, but I thought that the Raw the night after was appropriate. I thought the tribute was appropriate, but I think the show that night should have stopped. That was my deal. And there are people that are apologists that say, well, they didn't know Owen died right away, so they kept the show going.
Oh, horse shit.
But
if
they knew
Jerry Lawler knew the minute he sat down in that seat next to JR.
He was pale. It doesn't look good. It was.
You fall from that height. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just.
Yeah. So now, like I said, the possibility of no Mania is what it is. The card kind of sucks anyway. Big deal. Anyway, it would have been an 8 hour. It would have, when it does happen, I'll tell you this, it's going to be fun Facebook Live from the We Can't Wrestle Castle here when we do have the show, and that's going to be fun.
We'll go live for 8 hours and we'll play WWE 2K 18.
We're not going to pay 20 because that's broken too.
Yeah. We'll do 18 or 19. We'll put on a WrestleMania.
2K20 is about as broken as the WrestleMania hopes right now.
Yeah.
Some of the videos of the fuck ups on that are great.
Oh, it's just
like the one where the referees, I don't know. I'd have to look it up and show you guys, but yeah, well, there's one where the referee, it's a Divas match or something, and the referee looks like he's humping them. Yeah, it's pretty funny. All right, so the next surreal thing of the week because of the coronavirus, I wanted to start the conversation with SmackDown. Watching SmackDown was surreal this week. My wife, when I watch wrestling, usually sits on the couch next to me, pays no attention to it, looks at her phone. She was like, there's nobody there. And she was intrigued by it. It was super weird.
That's the first thing I wrote. I was like, this is weird.
It was the tale of two cities in a lot of respects because they did a lot of cool stuff, a lot of stuff that worked really well, like the sit-down interviews with like Cena and Michael Cole and stuff. Like that stuff wasn't so bad, but when you had like Bailey and them come out and they're cutting promos.
Well, and I don't know if it. When Triple H cracked me up during this show. He even said, "Why doesn't she just yell at her?" When she was asking for a microphone.
She must have stuck it through the crowd.
The thing that was the weirdest to me, I guess, and I don't know if it was just their instinct because they're used to playing to a crowd, but the weirdest thing was, and it seemed like it hit the first ones down the chute. It seemed like it hit the girls more, was they were still playing to a crowd and not joking.
So was Roman.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's just, it's instinct or what have you.
I'm sure it is.
But it was really weird to watch. It was really weird to see.
I hate to bring this up, but when you go through the WWE Performance Center and you're taught to fucking play to the crowd and not,
Play to the
taught
crowd.
how to work different crowds and stuff and everything else, and you're taught that way and that way only, of course you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They're trained to look at the camera, to look at the crowd, look at,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Did anybody, I didn't see anything. Of course, I don't know. I guess I didn't seek it out. Anybody have any info on why Paige wasn't there? Was it just travel thing? Because it was, okay. I wasn't sure. I didn't see
I guess it was a combination. She wasn't able to fly and she wasn't comfortable with flying. And Vince, I guess, I don't know if it was Vince or Hunter was like, you're good.
yeah. Good. I mean, because Vince McMahon is like, oh, fuck the coronavirus. I'll take it on. Me and the coronavirus WrestleMania in the middle of the ring.
I beat God.
Ass. I guess
Wesley said. Wesley said, "What?" Wesley said, "What you talking about?" Little Jimmy and his whole family was there.
And the thing is, how they kept saying this was the first time ever, and I'm sitting there going, "No, I'm old enough. I remember halftime heat."
Mm-hmm. or Terry Funk and Jerry Lawler, even farther back than that.
Well, to them, the normal WWE fans, though, they wouldn't really think about that.
Mm-hmm.
WWE fans know if they're old enough, halftime heat, because that was a big thing.
Yeah, it was a big deal in what was that, 99, I think.
Something like that.
The Roman interview. What did we think of that? He seemed kind of entitled in this interview.
Yeah.
Is he supposed to be playing the heel in this feud? Is my question.
It almost felt like some of the stuff he was saying that he was like doing like the tip to the internet community and everything else, almost like the way they scripted it. It's like they're trying to do the same thing they did with when he went against Brock and trying to have him do the whole tip his hat to, I know what you're talking about, to the fans, so he'll be the hero again. And it didn't work then.
It didn't work now.
Well, the only reason it will work now is because people are just going to want some kind of vindication that the senior citizen part-timer took the belt off Bray. That's going to be the only thing that gets him cheered is, yay, it's off of Goldberg. It's not going to be, yay, Roman did it. It's going to be, yay, he don't have it.
Well, and here's the thing. There can't be any boos if there's nobody at Mania. maybe fucking Roman Reigns beats he beats Goldberg and then he turns around and beats Lesnar.
Oh God, damn you, Kyle.
He walked out of Mania with both belts. There ain't nobody there to boo. He'll pipe in the cheers.
No, he won't do that. He'll go and really piss people off and run down there and spear Drew as soon as he wins. And pin Drew.
Yeah. Yeah.
That way you get real bad.
God.
People throwing their chairs at their TVs around America.
And you know what's weird? It was one of those things too, like with Roman. When Roman did it, his interview was like, all right. But then, boy, he got outshined by John Cena and Bray Wyatt.
I thought that segment was done really well.
It was.
Especially with played into the it almost played into the empty arena thing better. Cena, I mean, say what you want about Cena. I mean,
Honestly,
I don't like.
This is the first time he's teetering this much on a heel parameter, I guess.
I was going to say it's not a turn, but kind of more of a heelish persona.
Like he's literally turning into Dwayne.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally once in a lifetime again, but now he's playing the other part.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely, because he came off in that interview as bitter and condescending. Yes. And, I I mean, regardless of whether Bray is supposed to be a heel, people cheer him. So obviously they know. I mean, they know that people look at Bray not necessarily as a babyface, but as a heel that they like. You could almost have
that he's a guy that busted his ass to make something work, no matter how much shit he was given.
And even though I was, Kyle knows, he was with me when I watched it, even though I was pissed many moons ago when John beat Bray at Mania, because that could have been so much steam for him to beat Cena, I like the story they're telling. And it's a different type of story, but I don't know if you guys agree. I think that Cena, especially if Cena would be heel and Bray would kind of be the tweener face, and those two have great chemistry, and they have the possibility to have, again, not the same story, but the same kind of dynamic that Austin and Brett had. Almost. I think that Bray's character could push Austin, or could push Cena into that Bret Hart kind of a heel, like, you guys, this guy's a son of a bitch, but you guys cheer him instead of me. I mean, that would be great, I think. But they won't do that because Cena's not. See that he won't be around after Mania anymore, so it doesn't matter.
That's the other thing. Yeah, that blows me away. It's like you look at everything as it stands, and it's like you pretty much can tell what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because Becky's leaving after Mania, Seth's leaving after Mania. Undertaker's leaving after Mania.
Yeah,
I mean.
I think the part that I wrote down that cracked me up with the Cena piece, though, is like the shit that he was saying in that promo about how he never held anyone back. I wrote, or he didn't screw anybody over, or all this and all that. And I just wrote down, I was like, I have a feeling Stu Bennett and a whole bunch of other guys just screamed "fuck you" at their television.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news, John.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
Oh, Jesus.
Wesley's asking, is Cena the new Taker? One show a year and done? But Taker does more than he should now. I mean, and I'll get to that later on when we talk about Raw. Let me see. Yeah, Gronkowski.
And I think the other thing that cracks me up is I'm pretty sure that I'm almost wondering if they're calling an audible with this Cena mentality and the way he's presenting himself. Because part of me thinks that a big portion of him coming back was to help promote Furious 9. So with that getting pushed back a year, you don't really have to worry about him being like goo babyface because it's not really going to affect any weekend premiere numbers since it's not going to be a year. It's not like people are going to be like, remember when he was a dick last year? I'm not going to go watch that movie now.
I'm not going to go watch that movie because I saw the previews for it.
You don't want to go watch Tarzan?
No. And they're swinging on a freaking rope across the bridge that broke.
Tarzan.
All right. Like, I can suspend my disbelief. For the love of God, I love pro wrestling, but this is just...
Or the fact that they're driving up the bridge that's falling and it's like falling conveniently behind them, not like normal, gravity.
Yeah. I was like, what?
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've seen the first 24 minutes of the first Fast and Furious, and I've never seen any more of it. So I have no idea anything about that movie series.
The first one was actually good. It was still like kind of believable.
I think I saw the Tokyo Drift one at the drive-in, and that was the last one that I saw because it was just on at the drive-in.
All right, so let me see. Anything else from SmackDown? I mean, we had Jeff Hardy.
Can we point out the fact that Sami Zayn is our Intercontinental Champion, but he still doesn't have side plates on the belt? Did anyone catch that?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, you're just keeping that warm for a switch over here, huh?
He's doing a great job, though.
Yeah.
I think he's doing a great job at playing that little, just a motherfucker. You know what I mean? God, this little motherfucker. He's doing a great job at that.
He reminds me so much of Owen Hart.
Yeah. That's a good comparison. I like the comparison. And eventually, eventually, whether it be Cesaro or Nakamura, it's going to be fun to see one of them finally say, "This motherfucker." You know what I mean? Like, I would I would prefer it be. Either way, it would be cool if one of them would turn face, and then so Sammy now manages one against the other, because how cool would a Nakamura Cesaro, series be? I hope that's where this goes, honestly. With him in the mix, and like I said, he's doing a great. They're all three of them are. That's a fun act. I really, when they first got together, I was like, "What the fuck is this mishmash?" But now it's like, well, that's what this mishmash is. I like it.
Give them the credit, man. Those three have been able to take that and turn it into something. I mean, that's gold.
Yeah, something that's entertaining on main roster WWE. That's tough to do nowadays.
Well, they gonna last another 3 months because.
Wesley says now that Davey Boy is going in the hall, is Owen next? That's up to Martha, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll get a better idea once the new Dark Side of the Ring season comes out, since she's actually on it.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
I'm not
hearing her talk and watching her body language on that. I think that'll give us a good intention of if it's ever going to happen.
But yeah, what is her mood 20 years later now? Yeah. Dave DeRozier's here. Dave, how are you? Dave, by the way, your We Can't Shuffle prize will be going out in the mail tomorrow. All right,
we can't promise anything if the mail goes down because of the coronavirus.
Well, I actually have something that I have to ship to someone who bought something from me from the United Kingdom, and all week the post office has told me come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow, because it's still I'm not allowed to ship it there to wherever he is in the UK. I'm not allowed to ship it, so who knows?
I'm gonna be able to ship it there because just not receive it here. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
One quick last side note from SmackDown before we move on. Whoever does their graphic work, I want to give them mad props because they photoshopped some great eyebrows on the Shayna Baszler's promo pic for WrestleMania. Because that picture, I was like, she don't have eyebrows. Where'd those come from?
It's like back in the day when they would fix Hulk Hogan's bald spot.
Yeah. And then at one point they were just like, fuck it, we can't.
Yep.
We can't anymore. The only other thing
is missing nipple.
The only other thing, we'll move on from SmackDown. Then I loved Triple H on this show. I don't care what anybody says about Hunter. Hunter is entertaining as hell, and I loved the dynamic between him and Michael Cole. I don't know. I thought that Triple H busting Michael's balls for the 2 hours was fun, and you could tell he was just having fun with it.
Yep. It was almost weird. It was like the boss was there, so he actually did his job well.
Yeah. he even busted his balls about people not liking him. It was great. The thing with the camera, and it was fun. Dave says he just
of the Sharpie.
Dave DeRozier says he just traded his whole wrestling figure mint card collection for 3 rolls of toilet paper.
All right.
Pretty much. Real quick, before we move on from SmackDown and all that with Triple H, about the news that Triple H is no longer the vice president of shows and all that. Now he is just on NXT. Like, he is the guy for NXT and NXT only.
I wonder. I don't know what that means. Like, I'm trying to read into the politics of that, and I don't know if that is Vince trying to put Hunter back in his place, or
you know what? I truly think it is. It's Vince going, look, all right, Hunter, you want to take this thing on? Let's see what you can do when it's all yours. Mm-hmm. This is yours to either sink or swim, and I think it's a test to see what's going to happen once Vince dies.
Is it that, or is he bitter that Hunter came out of the gates on fire and took NXT and completely showed up his flagship?
Could be that too.
Mm-hmm. That would not surprise me at all.
Because, I'm not going to lie, I'm terrified about tomorrow because I thought SmackDown, as unique and everything as it was the longest SmackDown ever.
Now, is it
without the crowd interaction? And tomorrow night, a 3-hour Raw in an empty arena.
Oof.
Oh.
I'm surprised.
2 hour SmackDown with a replay of an Elimination Chamber match felt like Raw and a half.
I'm surprised they didn't put up a. I'm surprised they didn't put up a WrestleMania sign in the Performance Center just so guys could point to it. But anyway, let's talk about Raw. Edge and Orton was the best thing on the show. I thought that was a cool, old school style wrestling angle. Now, did it make up for the fact that Orton gave, again, like I said last week, the absolute worst reason ever for doing what he did? Their intensity this week, and they're both amazing performers, and MVP in the mix. I thought it was a good segment. I thought they did a good job with it. It's probably the most intriguing match for WrestleMania, honestly. Other than, for me, intriguing is Drew and Brock, but I think that what they did this week was good. I think they I don't know if you make up for the lack of logic in the reason for everything, but it was definitely an entertaining week for the feud.
To me, Edge's stuff Monday was as ridiculous as Randy last week, because Randy has been established as he doesn't give a flying crap about anyone but himself. So Edge sending a signal by beating up somebody else, Randy as a character was just like, oh no, don't do that. Oh God, I'm so concerned about that guy.
Yeah. Who is that guy? Kyle, what did you think of Edge and Orton this week?
I don't know. To me, I'm trying to think how to put this. I'm tired of seeing the same things being done over and over again, like that concerto. It's like, okay, Edge did it, or Orton did it to Edge, and it was like, okay, that's horrifying looking. But now they have done it too much, where now it's just like, well, okay, it's not special anymore. Edge should have done something else, whether he speared him through something or.
And I think that's where you fall into since he's a part-timer, you fall into the fact that part-timers generally do, what do I say? They do a shtick, I guess.
Yeah.
They limit what they do, so that they can get the big pop. Like, oh, Edge did the concerto because that's what he's here for, is to get the pop by doing the concerto. Undertaker, his little bell went off, and now he's coming out, and it's dark and it's steamy. It's just like they because they're a part-time act, and you don't see them every week. They feel like they need to do their. If what I'm saying makes sense, they need to do their signature shit.
It does, but see, from a storytelling standpoint. I would have waited. I would not have seen Edge do the concerto until at Mania, and that's what puts Orton away.
And you're right.
Now it's lost its luster. It's like,
and they do that shit all the time now. They blow, and now, who knows when the match is going to happen? So now it's even going to be more.
Go ahead.
It's going to be more prolonged, is all I was going to say. They're going to have to drag it out longer now with all these feuds, because who knows when they're actually going to be able to have the matches. It's crazy.
And me, I don't know about you guys personally, but me, it's like concerto, they made it seem like it was such a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then Edge comes out this week, and it's just like, he's pretty much fine. Like, where is, like, there should have been something where, say what you want to say about AEW, but at least with Moxley, he wore that fucking eye patch and sold it, I mean,
he was committed.
And just throwing this out there, you're talking about prolonged and tired of seeing things. Are we just supposed to be destined in the loop of the 4 Latinos fighting one another for the rest of time?
Exactly. Exactly. It is getting silly. And yeah, like I actually
is Ray doing the Panama Sunrise now?
I actually have written down here Rey Mysterio match. I don't care. And I would never have said that, 15 years ago, because I love Ray. But yeah, you're right. It's getting.
I know you love Garza too, so that means it was a Garza, and you're like, I don't care.
I don't, because like you said, they're just wrestling each other over and over and over again every week, and there's
the first week that it happened, it was like, oh my god, this is amazing, and then it's
Yeah.
like, okay,
Well, the thing
It's
is,
just
they changed it enough weeks. They changed it enough for the first few weeks to where it was something just different enough where you're like, this is awesome. But now they've literally exhausted every option. You're like, this is, again.
the wheels are just spinning. They're just spinning the wheels on this thing.
It's like the comedy show. It's like How I Met Your Mother. How his car, he had the Proclaimers tape stuck in his car, and that's all they heard.
Which is a great shtick.
Mysterio, Humberto, Andrade, and Garza are the Proclaimers tape.
That is almost as good as the Fred Willard analogy. Almost.
But am I wrong?
Oh no, not at all.
As soon as you see one of them, you're like, oh, so it's this match again.
So thank you. So because next week or this week or whenever, next time I see one of those matches happen, now what I'm gonna in my head, I'm gonna be like, don't, I'm gonna hear the Scotsman that look like. You ever notice that? Do you guys know who Greg Proops is?
No, but it sounds funny.
Not Greg Poops. Greg Proops. Oh. He's a guy from he's the guy with the thick glasses on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Proclaimers look like twins of Greg Proops. But anyway, just an observation off the...
I'm still wanting to know why Ray's decided, hey, Adam Cole, that finisher you do, I'm just going to use it as a transition move.
Yeah.
So now when Adam gets called up, he's going to do it, and everyone's like, okay.
Well, they're going to give Adam the rock bottom.
Vince would tell you nobody will notice, pal.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I will say this. One of my opinions has turned around. Not about NXT crossing over with WWE, but about the Baszler-Becky match. Because I now that we're a few weeks into the shows, I'm kind of
because you know that's her name now.
Yeah, well, you gotta have a gimmick, pal. I'm getting the feeling, just watching the shows the past few weeks, that she's not even supposed to be NXT anymore. So I'm not angry about that now. I got the impression the first couple of weeks that they were doing
last
this.
Week that she was called up.
Did you?
Yeah.
Was I just affected by the coronavirus or something?
Yeah, I'm thinking more of the Anheuser infection.
Possibly, but so
the simple fact that there's just so much fucking going on that you're just like,
yeah, things get missed, but yeah, I'm not as down on it, and I've never been down on the match. I'm down on NXT cross pollinating with the main roster. So now that it's pretty much the story is she's main roster, I'm okay with it, even though I didn't like the biting angle. I thought that was silly.
I don't like it because the simple fact that it's just like, okay, we're going into WrestleMania to see Becky hand the belt over to Shayna. Mm-hmm. That's what it feels like. I mean, because God, we need to get to that Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler and Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez, because fuck wrestling anymore. It's all about MMA and UFC.
Ronda and Baszler, first of all, doesn't need a title. I would watch the match, title or not. Secondly, Brock Lesnar, I have absolutely no interest in Cain Velasquez. None. He does not appeal to me at all. I don't watch boxing. I haven't watched boxing in 20 years. I don't care about it. I did not know who Tyson Fury was. Honest to God, I didn't know who Tyson Fury was. But I will say this. I find him to be more intriguing and entertaining than I do Velasquez. Tyson Fury feels like he enjoys it, wants to be there, isn't just there for the money. You know what I mean? He's like Mike Tyson, where it feels like he was a fan and he's enjoying it and taking it seriously. Whereas Velasquez, it feels like it's a paycheck. He's fucking boring.
Cain Velasquez is Rey Mysterio's Bam Neely.
Bam Neely, that's a deep cut right there.
Well, Bam Neely was just the expressionless bump muscle, and what was Kane when he came out for Ray?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Bam Neely was supposed to be the muscle, but got his ass beat. What did Kane do? He was supposed to be the muscle and got his ass beat. And he looks like every. This is going to sound so mean, but to me, when he came out, just the way he presented himself and the way he conducted himself, he pretty much looked like any movie that you see Danny Trejo. Cain Velasquez was the guy that's always behind Danny Trejo in any movie.
Silent. Yeah, silent, stoic, no personality. Yeah,
get his ass
pretty
beat.
much. Yeah. Possibly get a limb chopped off. So, Drew McIntyre's segment with Eric Rowan destroying the cage, the spider. Hopefully to God that puts this shit to rest.
I think they did that just because he realized and looked back and went, that did not go over anywhere near what we were even hoping.
Like a fucking fart in church.
Drew, just kill it. Just kill it.
Just kill it. Kill it.
Like that was probably the best write-off I've seen WWE do as a throwaway ever.
Well,
it was like WWE were like, they did the R-Truth like, my bad.
and they did it the right way by doing it with a guy that's super over, so it doesn't come off as since he's so right now he's Teflon. He's one of those guys that can be involved in part of anything, and it's not going to hurt him at all, and it's only going to make whatever it is better.
Because it made him more over because that whole spider thing was so damn retarded. When he did it, everyone cheered him even more because they were like, "Thank you." I mean, probably if you looked at Rowan when that cage got smashed, he was probably laying there on the ground going,
yeah. Don't have to carry that thing around anymore. God.
The only other note that I have on Raw was that I hated AJ's promo. I hate any time that real life is brought to Undertaker's character.
Well, I think it's funny that this is involved after the whole Women's Day thing and him getting all snarky and shitty about her not being mentioned on Twitter. And then all of a sudden, oh wait, here we'll put her into a whole big WrestleMania thing. And
I'm sure that's the reason for it. And you're right, and it's a political thing, but it was I don't like when that character is used in that. I don't like when people call him Mark. I don't like shit like that with that character. It's one of those characters. Like, I don't like when people call Hulk Hogan Terry on TV. There's certain characters I don't like that being brought into. And Undertaker's one of them. And this was just, I don't know. This was like, all the good stuff that CM Punk did when he was feuding with Undertaker. This was like that, but not. You know what I mean? Like CM Punk. Yeah, CM Punk did it, and I'm not blaming AJ. I mean, they do they
real, but he kept it real to a level where kayfabe was still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had that ability to make
to walk the line
with still the kayfabe.
Right.
The two big problems I had with it was one, what you're saying with how he come out and said, called him Mark and talked about Michelle McCool and everything.
And he didn't even call him the right name. He called him Mark Galloway.
Yeah.
He probably said Calloway, but you just couldn't understand it with the drawl.
Probably. That's, damn Southern people. But the other thing that I hated was it's like, okay, now I like the fact that him coming out and saying, like, look, The Undertaker's not that mystic phenom anymore. He's broken, he's old, like, okay, that's great. But the problem is that broken old guy just fucking beat you at Saudi Arabia with a fucking choke slam.
Kind of a choke slam. Kind of a choke slam.
With his hat on.
What did Aaron say?
The jackhammer.
What did Aaron say last week with the Tom Jones song, Leave Your Hat On?
I mean, I'm
But
just
yeah,
me personally. I'm not a fan of McCool. Like I even wrote down, I was like, do we really need her involved? She's like the OG Bella.
yeah,
Like,
you're right. She harkens back to the memories of that 4 to 5 year period where the women's division was just the worst.
and the
The
other thing is
worst.
though, with her involved, remember when she was using AJ's finisher and she got shit for it because she never did the proper way and asked his permission. And then when she got called out, she tried to say that she didn't even know who the hell he was and didn't even know that move was used. And I just find it funny that now it's coming all full circle, and now they're in a feud. So I mean, almost in a way, if you think about it that way, maybe it makes sense, and he could like, even though you don't like it, he could bring in that real element that
And he could.
he's a disrespectful cunt.
I would be okay with him doing that because it doesn't. Anything they would do to her is fine.
But it's going to make him Mark.
Right,
Michelle
right.
McCool isn't married to The Undertaker. Michelle McCool is married to Mark.
Married to Mark, yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, any way she's involved, it's going to become Mark, not Taker.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. And like you said, I think this is one of those things where, and it's weird because I'm drawing a lot of parallels between this feud and the Punk feud because, you know, the Punk feud obviously was going to go down one way and it went down another way because Paul Bearer passed away. And I think this feud, like you said, Chris, this one got changed because of the whole thing that happened with the Women's Day thing. And I think that the dynamic of this feud has changed by something that happened outside of the feud. And I kind of like Undertaker feuds to, honestly, I kind of like Undertaker feuds to be straightforward. You know, I just, the way that character is, I like them to be straightforward. I don't care if they're formula. It's fine. It works. It doesn't work when you do it with everybody, but it can work when you do it with a gimmick like that, with a guy like that.
And I mean,
it's what people want to see.
At least let's give Taker credit. He's put more into this feud already than he did at all when he feuded with Bray Wyatt.
Yes, which is unfortunate. I don't understand.
I'm still pissed about that one.
Yeah,
Bray single-handedly made you interested and want to see that match, and he did it, all that, busted his ass for that, and they were like, "Good job, pal. Go out there and lose." Wait, what?
Yeah, and I know we're getting back to what we were talking about earlier with Cena, but I don't understand. Like if you asked me in WWE, of the newer generation of wrestlers in WWE over the past decade, who is the most consistently good performer in the company? And I'm not talking about always bell to bell. I'm talking about all around, like if we're talking about a Hulk Hogan or somebody like that, who is the most consistently good performer in this company? It's Bray.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they shit on him all the fucking time. People love that guy. He's Teflon. No matter what they do to him, people love him because he's so good at what he does. But they just shit on him all the time, and I don't get it.
and that's the problem. Because it's that no matter what he does, he can bounce back from it.
Yeah. You'll be all right, pal.
Yeah.
You're never going to win at fucking WrestleMania, but you'll be all right. You have a match with Orton. Guess what? We're going to put cartoons on the mat. Yeah. Yeah, pal. Cartoons on the mat. Was that one of the worst fucking things you've ever seen in your life?
It's your fault it didn't get over. You didn't try hard enough.
Brass ring, man. Ball was in your court, Bray. Anyway, we're getting off topic again. Anybody else have anything about Raw so we can quickly move to the Wednesday shows?
The only few things I wrote down, like little side notes, is why is Alistair back in his room again? And the other thing is I'm glad to see that Cedric Alexander is now just glorified enhancement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that didn't last very long, did it?
Yeah, and the 24/7 rules are just that belt shouldn't be called 24/7. It should be called like 5-1 because you get a 5-minute match one time a week.
I will say this about Cedric Alexander, and I'm not gonna go on a rant about this because it'll take the rest of the show. The reason he's back to being mid card is because he's black.
Yeah.
And in that company, I'm not. Vince is a bit of a racist. I'm just saying, like, if if you're not our truth, then and I love our truth. Don't get me wrong, but to me, if in Vince's eyes, if you're not our truth, then you're just the black guy of the day, and it's a sad state of affairs. And
I'll put it like this: is that Vince? I don't think Vince is racist. I think Vince is a fucking 70-year-old white guy who sits there and says, "Well, a black guy can't be marketable."
But what I don't understand about it is if you look at professional wrestling and you've ever talked to any pro wrestling workers and you've talked to any pro wrestling promoters and you look at the locker rooms, and I know this is taking up time, whatever. If we don't get to the Wednesday shows, we don't, or we will. They were kind of mediocre this week. We'll talk about them though. But if you look at wrestling in and of itself, there is almost not a closer fraternity of people who have more diverse backgrounds. Like you watch wrestlers and you watch those things and you don't see a lot of bigotry in locker rooms. And they just, they're brothers and sisters, and it's a fraternity, and it's almost like it doesn't exist there until him. And I don't understand it because he's grown up in that business his whole life. He's a 70-year-old man, but he's a 70-year-old man who has been in a business that was diverse before any other business.
Because he's
pro wrestling broke down walls like baseball did in race relations.
But he's a control
Bobo Brazil. And you're right, he is. He's a control freak.
It's got to be his way or nothing. I mean, we've seen that how many times? Time and time again. He can sit there and say till he's fucking blue in the face that we listen to our audience. But no, it's him. It's him saying, no, we're going to do it my way because my way is the right way. I'm the one who built this company to what it is today.
And Wesley just commented it took him 11 years for him to do something with Kofi. And that's why I said the African-American of the day. Because, yes, he did something with Kofi because he saw money in that moment. But what did he do? What did he do to end it? 14 seconds? 9 seconds. He got the fucking SD Jones treatment. Oh wait, he was black too.
Look what they did with the Jordan Miles thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that whole shit show. Instead of sitting there saying, you know what, you're right. Maybe that was a little, untasteful. We shouldn't have done that shirt that way. No, they come out and they're like, well, no, he approved that. We work hard with our talent to come on the shirt, and it's like, no, you don't.
Pancakes. All right, so I'm gonna get off of that high horse. Let's talk about Wednesday. I thought both of the shows were not bad, but a tad mediocre this week.
I
just
thought
kind
Dynamite was better.
I actually agree with you. Once again, I thought that Dynamite was the better show of all the shows this week.
Dynamite's on fire on all cylinders. They're starting.
It is, and again, like I said, this week it seemed like it was kind of I guess kind of a spin in the wheel show. But you're going to have those in any storytelling. You have weeks where you don't have, So Cody and Ortiz had a good match, I thought, to open the show.
Oh, we're over here now. Okay.
Yes, we're over here now.
The few things that I noticed about the Cody Ortiz is that was the probably shittiest way to bring out Archer.
Yeah.
Like the commentary didn't even really throw a big deal. They're like, "Oh, look, it's Lance Archer."
It's Vance Archer.
And
did they call him Lance or did they call him Vance?
No, I don't remember.
Jeff Harvey.
Just Harvey. I feel bad for making fun of Adam Lee now, by the way.
I don't.
Considering he's, it turns out he has dementia and all that. It's like, oh. Well, anyway. we're all right. So.
I'm tired of the tennis balls and the sock thing. I can't take it seriously. Anyone with a IQ higher than that of a fucking ficus knows that they're tennis balls. You're not going to make anybody believe it.
No. I think that, excuse me, But I want to go back to it because I agree with you about the debut of Archer. I think that it could have been a much more, it's funny because sometimes you're like, oh, you didn't have to be so dramatic about that. And then there's something where you should be a little dramatic about it and you're not. It's like these guys are just, Jake and Archer just, yeah, look at them eating popcorn and standing around. They weren't eating popcorn, but
why have Archer debut this week? Why not drag it out?
Mm-hmm. He was supposed to debut like 2 weeks ago. They advertised him 2 weeks ago. Like he had like his little like promo shot, green cap and everything that he was coming next week. And that's the week that Jake showed up.
And I was kind of hoping, honestly, I don't know about you guys, but it was kind of a letdown because I was hoping for Brody Lee, honestly.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I really would think that, and I'm not saying that Archer isn't cool. I liked him back when he was in WWE. Yeah, but he's done a great job in Japan. But I just think that to me, and I'm going to say Luke Harper because you got to break bad habits. But I think Luke Harper and Jake would be a great combo. And I think Luke Harper and Cody could have amazing matches. It's time to start seeing Brody Lee do what he can do. Outside of WWE. Not that he wasn't good in WWE, but they just didn't book him right. So Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy.
In the head.
Yes, he kicked the Make-A-Wish kid in the head. That was a fun moment. But what did we think of the 6-man tag?
MJF. He's gold, like always.
Yep.
Marco, and it's funny that you said that because I wrote down, I was like, Marco is like a Make-A-Wish that's gone too far.
Yes, I agree. It's time to put the fucking nail in that and put it away.
And the thing is, he's destroying Jungle Boy in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jungle Boy's stuck in the middle because Jack isn't the big gigantic dude that's going to whip everyone's ass like Lucha, but he's also not the tiny one that's going to get all the pity pop when he starts doing anything. So like when Jack started doing that comeback and he was on fire, and then they had Marco come out, Marco got a bigger pop than Jack was because they're like, oh, he's so little, he's got so much heart. No, he looks like a goddamn chihuahua trying to fucking assault a rhinoceros.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me personally, but
Marco wouldn't even pass in 205 Live.
No,
maybe 105 Live.
I'm tired of all the 3-man tag matches.
There were 2 on this show.
I said it last week. I'm just tired of all the factions in general with AEW.
Mm-hmm. That's probably their worst, I guess. And that's one of those things where I have said from the beginning, that show, the biggest thing that show suffers from is too many voices. And I'm not saying you don't have a group of people that come together to create a show, but it feels like you have a group of people who are creating 2 or 3 different shows within that show.
I mean, and can you honestly name me one male person in AEW that's not part of some kind of group?
Not really. No, even if it's like a not necessarily an official group, but a loose, association. Because I was going to say Darby Allin, but it was like, no, because he associates with,
He's probably the closest one, though.
Right.
He's probably the only one because MJF has Wardlow.
Mm-hmm.
Cody has the family. Circle, Death Triangle, Best Friends. Everybody's with somebody, and like Darby's probably the only actual solo act.
Wesley says Moxley.
Company.
Wesley says Moxley.
Yeah, Moxley. But
so Darby and Mox. That's about it. He did a good sit down this week.
That means the heels should be so dominant in that company because aside from like Mox and Darby, they're always going to be outnumbered no matter what heel they go up against because every heel is in a group.
Mm-hmm. So like I said, the Moxley sit down I thought was good with him and JR. These are the type of things JR is good at now, and I'm not trying to diss JR as far as 20 years ago he was the greatest play-by-play man in the business, and he's still a good play-by-play man. But he has literally become his hero. He is like watching Gordon Soley in 93 and 94. He's still got that voice and he's still got that cadence, but it's just not there, man. It's not all there upstairs. It's just like he's just there for the party, and that's fine. Whatever, he's getting a check. God bless him. But I love him in the sit down type stuff.
I do too, but he needs like you said, like Taz or somebody there.
Mm-hmm.
Because the problem is with him, Shivani,
not that fucking goof in a mask. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
The problem is all three of them. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it feels like all three of them are trying to be the play-by-play, the main play-by-play guy.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that color analyst to kind of play off.
And it's
because they took two play-by-play guys and put them with each other,
right.
And then you've got Super Mask Mark, who thinks he's everything, trying to do everything, and figuring out how many 8x10s to send to his number one fan, Nate, during the show.
He's going to send me 8x10s and then some Kenny Omega action figures.
From now on, next week, I'm going to get a wrestling mask, and I'm going to put it on. I'm gonna do this show.
You know what's funny? Aaron messaged me a couple of days ago, and he said, when I start coming on the show as a joke, you know what I should start doing? I should be the guy that wears a mask. And I was like, that's a fucking awful idea. And he was like, okay, I won't do it. he felt my anger through a text message. Like, Nate does not like this idea at all. Wesley says
Daniel's parody was probably the best Dark Order promo they've done since the company's been in existence.
Yeah. I don't know why they won't. I don't know why they won't put that thing to rest either. Even their fans don't like it.
It'll change next week.
And that's probably where they're going to insert Mr. Luke Harper too. I'm assuming. No, you think it's going to be Matt? I mean, he could make it.
If it's anybody but Matt.
If it's Matt Hardy, he should come in, say they're all losers, fire them, and end it, and then just be Matt Hardy. Thank you for preparing for my arrival. This is over.
You're all deleted.
Yes. Wesley says JR went downhill after getting caught on fire.
The thing is, if it is Matt next week, you do realize, like, boom, Dark Order is going to be they're going to be over.
Yes, yeah, because
the only way they're going to stay over is if none of them talk ever again, and it's just Matt. And every
Fat
week
Mask.
It's a different entity of Matt Hardy, of broken Matt Hardy every week. Like Venus one week and everything else.
I think it'd be funny instead of, because we had the broken Matt Hardy in TNA, we had the woken Matt Hardy in WWE. He should just come out smoking a cigarette and be smoking Matt Hardy.
I was about to say, is he going to be choking Matt Hardy?
No, because then everybody will be like, oh, coronavirus.
Or if they're in Colorado, he could be token Matt Hardy. All right, NXT quickly. Let's cover this show.
If he comes out acting like he has the last 20 years, he'll be token Matt Hardy.
His brother is the token Hardy in the WWE now.
Yeah.
So how about Keith Lee and Cameron Grimes? Chris, I know you said you don't like Cameron Grimes. I do. I like both of these guys.
No, your brother doesn't like Cameron. I like Cameron.
Oh, okay. I got that screwed up then.
And
all right.
It actually made me laugh. I actually made a note. I'm so glad they gave him a gimmick or a name change, because this would have been really confusing for commentary.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it'd have been Keith Lee versus Trevor Lee, and everybody would have been like, huh?
Huh?
Which league?
Yeah, which
And
league?
all I know is, can we please, for the love of God, stop making him all about a goddamn hat? But
I agree.
again, like I said with when his match against Dijakovic, I can't take Grimes like he has an actual chance as long as he's fighting either of those two.
So much smaller. Not a diss on him, but you're right. I mean, but I think that the way that he works in the ring, I guess we've disagreed on this for weeks, but I think the way he works in the ring, he's good enough to where, I mean, I believed 1-2-3 Kid could compete with Razor Ramon.
But
even though Razor
didn't have
Ramon
1-2-3 Kid go out there after Razor had a Sherman tank headbutt with Diesel and expect because if that would have happened and Diesel and Razor annihilated each other for 40 minutes and then 1-2-3 Kid went out there the week later and went to fight either one of them, you wouldn't have believed he had a shot.
Unfortunately, that is a symptom of me watching modern wrestling, is that I think I've become desensitized to. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, modern wrestling is so much about spot. I've just become desensitized to, and I agree with what you're saying, but I've become desensitized to it, I guess, a little bit.
I guess I haven't yet because, like I said, that's like my biggest gripe. Like, I like Keith Lee and I like Dijakovic. It's just they need to not be so spot heavy because they don't need to. Because it takes away from every other smaller guy on that roster. Because, like I said, when I see Keith Lee flipping around and then Cameron comes out there and does it, I would sure the hell hope so. I just watched the 350-pound Keith Lee do it.
Right.
I would hope your 100-and-some-pound ass could flip.
What do we think of the possibility, or obviously not the possibility, but the fact that it looks like we're going to get some Keith Lee, Damian Priest action going on here?
I didn't see him. I never watched him as Punishment Martinez, so I don't really know how I feel about him.
He was one of the. Once he left. Okay, I'll put it this way: once he left Ring of Honor, so did I. If that makes sense, he was one of the shining lights in that dying promotion. And once he was gone from the roster, I haven't watched it since. I do like the guy.
You're going to hate me because to me, he comes across almost like they're attempting a Baron Corbin 2.0.
Yeah, but Baron Corbin shits the bed every time he's on television, and Damian Priest is not.
But in NXT, but think about how he was in NXT. He was a ridiculous beast in NXT.
Right. No, I see what you're saying.
Just his overall persona and everything else, that's how I feel Archer is. It's like they're trying to go to the well again with what made Corbin work in NXT and brand it to fit Damian.
Mm-hmm. And you may be right. Kyle, you looked like you had something to say there.
I think it's great to have him with Keith Lee because for those fans that may not be familiar with him from Ring of Honor, it gives him a good rub. Because right now, Keith Lee is like Mr. NXT.
He's over like Rover, man.
Oh, yeah.
It was nice to see Kushida on this show. I was happy about that.
I forgot that Mendoza worked there.
Yeah, me too.
Well, the thing is, after the match, I wrote down, and that's why I forgot that Mendoza worked there.
That's why my note says, it's nice to see Kushida.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see that NXT has decided to have some kind of dark lucha order. That was nice.
Yeah. Although we talked a couple of weeks ago about the confusion about Finn Balor's character, whether he's babyface or heel, I did write down here, I'm excited to see Walter and Finn work together.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because Walter can't come over here.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
That match was scrapped from TakeOver because in order for him to have been over here, he had to be in the permitted part of England for at least 2 weeks before he was permitted to fly. He lives in Austria. That obviously didn't happen.
Yeah, everything is on hold now. So in July, if we're not all dead by then, that match is going to be fucking great. Undisputed Era and the fucking Broserweights. God, I just want Pete Dunne to get away from Matt Riddle as quickly as possible.
I wrote that down. I was like, so how long is Dunne going to carry Riddle?
Yeah. Riddle me this.
And I love Dunne, but I didn't like the fact that they're faces and they did the Bobby Roode heel fake out thing. I was like, that's a heel thing. That's a heel thing. It bugged me. And another side note, WWE has always sucked with the whole mixing theme song mashup. But the Dunne Riddle mashup is so jarring. You're like, yeah, with the Dunne music, and then you're just like, you do.
I think the one that tops up there with it was the RVD Kane one. That was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Or the RVD Booker T.
Yeah.
One of a kind.
Yeah.
Can you dig it?
That reminds me of when for what a few weeks that our Booker T had that like rap song where it just kept going. Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
The song that he sang on the original CD.
Mm-hmm.
That was the song that he sang.
And it was garbage. Well,
like, sadly, I didn't write down a lot about their match because I'm also trying to figure out, can someone please remind me how Dream's not the heel?
Yeah.
And this whole convoluted scheme of his is absolutely asinine. I'm going to do all this. I'm going to get all up in Roderick Strong's head because what I really wanted to do was attack Adam Cole. That is the most A to Q to Z to 23 to B I've ever seen in WWE, and I don't know how long. That is the most convoluted, asinine, make no sense angle ever.
Yes. Because he's gay, pal. He's confused on a lot of things.
And black. He's gay and black.
Two strikes.
No, he's not gay, pal. He's androgynous. Because I like syllables, pal.
All right, quickly, because we've gone 7 minutes over, and I have to pee. Let's quickly discuss I thought the Tommaso Gargano thing was really well done. I mean, these guys are great anyway. Till the end. Exactly.
That end was way too drawn out.
It was. It should have happened much quicker if that was what it was going to be. I really, really like, to me, and I don't know why. I have no idea why. I can't pinpoint it. But to me, the coolest moment of the whole thing was the mirror. I thought that was
shit, they're actually breaking stuff.
Yeah, it was cool old school shit. Like the brawl, like you said, until the end. I thought the brawl was great. I'm digging the feud. I like Johnny as the heel and Tommaso as the face. This is all working for me, and I just belched into this microphone. But this is all working for me so well, and I thought that this was well done. Except, like you said, the end that should have happened. If it was going to happen, it should have happened 3 minutes before it happened.
Yeah.
Little psychology things that these guys do that I love, though. You know, like grabbing Johnny grabbing Tommaso by the beard. You know, normally a guy would grab somebody by the hair, but he was just the little things these guys do. They're really good at nuances, and they work so well together. And I really like this. I mean, other than the prolonged part about the end of it, I would give this a best segment of the week on a wrestling show.
Yeah, because I mean, I completely agree with you. They're awesome with the nuances, like the last feud they had. That spot where he used the brace to cinch in that submission hold.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was such a small nuance, but it brought it such a higher level of personal.
Yeah.
And just brutal. It was something so simple, but it came across so brutal. You're like, oh shit. And it really crossed into that realism part of it. Kind of like you said, like that mirror. As soon as that mirror got shattered, you were like that tinge of, oh shit, this might not be fake, because Vince ain't cool with him breaking his shit. Like, he'll go buy a car for him to fuck up, but you don't jack up my building.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, we will wrap up the show for this week. Guys, it's been a good one. I really have enjoyed it. And I want to let everybody know that the internet here in the studios is back up and running. Things are good. The guys came out yesterday, realized that the last guy that was out here a couple of years ago fucked a bunch of shit up. And that's why my shit's been acting up for 2 years. But anyway, so that means that this week we will be recording episode 89, I believe it is, of the We Can't Wrestle podcast, where we are going to discuss WrestleMania 7, Hogan and Slaughter in that their main event. We'll be recording that, and coming up we will be hey, you know what? We've got an extended WrestleMania season now. We may be talking about WrestleManias till June. We might be able to cover all of them, but we'll be talking about
WrestleMania right into Survivor Series.
And also sometime here soon, probably within the next week or so, we're going to start the watch along show on YouTube, so subscribe to the YouTube channel. Chris, your selection is losing, by the way.
Oh,
the first Raw is winning.
Punishment. Everyone likes you too much to make you suffer through that.
But Kyle, Chris, thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you as always. We've done a great job here tonight. Thank you to everybody who has viewed the show, and of course I will post it up as I always do, so you can watch it if you didn't get a chance to watch live. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time around.
Take care.